Hello, people. How are you on this fine Wednesday? I'm just at my dressing table here getting ready and semi admiring and hating my hair at the same time. Even though I'm getting it colored and cut on the 29th, I could not deal with that light red with the gray anymore. And so I colored it Midnight Violet by Faria, which, of course, in this light looks blue, but it's still better than a light color. So, today I'm just getting ready and I have to pick up my car before 3. And tonight I've got the IDP program. You know, I keep it a buck on my channel, and I have no problem admitting that 2 years ago I got arrested for DWI. You know, shit happens. I'm sure a lot of people watching this have, well, I shouldn't say I'm sure, but quite possibly some of you have driven while impaired. So the very, very last part of my sentencing, before everything is just sort of expunged and pardoned. I don't know if that's the right phraseology or not, but the last leg of this journey, and believe me, it has been a journey for 2 years, oh my lord. And yes, I deserve every lash, is to go to the impaired driving program, which is kind of far for me. So I'm having a little bit of anxiety about the drive. I'm just, if I've ever mentioned this before on my channel, I'm not a fan of driving. I have a lot of panic and phobias and anxiety when I drive. But I'm just going to make sure I leave early enough to get there by 7. I'll probably leave here at like 5:45. If I'm there early, I'll get a coffee or sit in my car, play on the phone, and like I do. So I was watching DC Media's channel yesterday, and I noticed a couple of her videos about cults, and she's a wonderful reporter and journalist and storyteller, and she's very good at gathering facts and presenting it. Words are hard, brain fog, Hashimoto's, look it up, don't judge. Yeah, I'm old and words sometimes fail me. She's very good at presenting facts and info in an entertaining, very pleasant way. And it made me think about not doing a series, but doing a story time about the fact that I was raised in a cult. And I don't know if I want to make it short or long, or maybe even just talk about it now. I do have a little bit of time. I do have cigarettes with me. But I look really tired and really pale. My mouth is healing nicely. It's not red, it's not black or gray. It's pink. Yeah, so from the age of 5, I was raised in a cult led by a messianic self-proclaimed messiah who called himself Brother Julius, if you want to Google it or look it up. I mean, if anybody's interested, if anyone here also follows DC Media Girl, she's speaking anecdotally, which is fine. A lot of people have not had this experience, but I can speak from experience about what it's like to be raised in a cult. I had an arranged marriage. I was pulled out of school. I had to work for only the cult-owned companies. We were not allowed to use our natural-born names. We had to refer to ourselves as this vessel. Cults operate by systematically breaking down people's independent thought and, making it a bad or an evil thing to want to be part of the world, be part of a functioning society, and have social skills. So I was raised, it wasn't like a commune, but it was a cult. We did have to go to Bible meetings 3 or 4 times a week. We got split up by astrological sign and classifications of loving God, A, B, C, or D. Like I said, we weren't allowed to use our names. We had angel quality words, they were known as. Mine was abundance, and then it was affection, and then it was divinely abundant affectioning, which isn't even a word. He referred to himself as God. Jesus returned, the Messiah. We had to call him the Lord. We had to bow and curtsy when he entered a room. I struggled in this. I was brainwashed, and I was systematically broken down until I had had enough. Finally, I found out that my niece was being molested, and I broke free of the cult and my arranged marriage in 1992. It took about a year for me to really decide to do it, work up the courage, and believe you me, it took courage to make my way into the world while being shunned and losing my family. My mother and brother, I lost them to the cult and to Trump. I don't care who that offends. You can unsubscribe now if you're a cult believer, Trump believer. I'm just looking at people walking by the lake. Yeah, I have no relationship with them to this day. And I've been out many, many years, but I'm still scarred from being raised that way and having no compass provided for me, no template of normalcy, no sense of being raised properly. It was all about God and death and doom and destruction, and the world is going to be judged, and you all better get your acts together and serve me or you'll go to hell, and the world is going to be judged. And we had to sometimes wear these Band-Aids on our foreheads so that we could declare the truth to anybody who asked about what the Band-Aids meant. We had to have bumper stickers on our cars which read, God exists, he's a man, and you better stop sinning. There was recruitment, there was harassment in other mainstream churches, there was physical discipline of children and adults, there was sexual abuse. Brother Julius took upon himself many women to have sex with, many wives and concubines, to use the biblical term. A lot of his perversions were based on skewed scriptures. And when I left, this is going to be the main part of my memoir, is going to be a lot of recollections about the years in the cult, but also what happened to me mentally, psychologically, physically, spiritually, every way possible when I left, because it was just me and my daughter. I had I had skills and I was intelligent, but I was always castigated and reprimanded in the cult for being too intellectual. Julius said to me at the age of 11, your intellect will prove your downfall in your faith and in your calling and in your walk. There's a lot of buzzwords. There's a certain communication style within cults. There's catchphrases. There's a language that is used. We were not allowed to answer the phone hello. You had to say God's peace be with you. You had to pray every time you entered a home or entered a car or a new building. If we passed a graveyard, we had to say, thank you, Lord, that we are not among the spirit of the dead, but the living. We weren't allowed to watch certain movies that had the word luck in it. We couldn't celebrate Christmas. I couldn't watch Bedknobs and Broomsticks as a kid. Couldn't go to school on Halloween. Couldn't curse. Had to wear no makeup, no big jewelry, because it meant we were whores. Couldn't get our hair cut. Couldn't dress in black. Couldn't drink hard alcohol. Although the upper echelon in the cult were able to break all the rules. There was a tremendous disparity of wealth to poverty. We had to give 20% of whatever we earned, which was already meager to begin with, to Julius. And he died in 1996. I was married at the time for the second time. I now had 2 children, and I was a step-parent to 2. I met my husband, my second husband, through a personal ad in 1994. This is straw, and I can't wait to get these ends cut off. Even though I love long hair, I refuse to have long frizzy hair, and I recognize that I've damaged it by all the coloring. Segue. Yeah, I left in 92, and I lived in a little grungy apartment with my daughter. I got a job as a home health aide, taking care of elderly people. Some of them allowed me to bring her to work with me. They fed us because I had no money. But I always worked and I always provided, and we moved around a lot. And I don't know how to encapsulate it. I mean, it all will be in my book, which will be entitled The Work, the World, and Me in Between, about my in-between phase of being in a cult for so long and then integrating into the world and realizing who I am as a person and an individual without an intact family structure. Fucked up family of origin. Fufu. It's been hard. It's contributed to my addiction and my mental illness. I am bipolar with borderline traits and anxiety, panic disorder, phobias, chronic PTSD, complex PTSD. And yeah, so here I am. I left my husband, I went back to my husband, I left my husband, I went back about 5 times. Finally, I've been in this place. Sorry for doing that. Sometimes my lipstick gets like sticky and I go like that. Um, I've been in my current place for 6 years. I've been in my current job for 3 years. Next month, I am 1 year sober. I have reduced my debt. I have procured a much better new car. It's 5 years old, but um, I got therapy. I got on the right medication for my mental illness. Um, I'm still fat, if you want to call that a deficit. It's something that still bothers me. But I wouldn't trade anything I've learned or gained, no pun intended, over the years of self-knowledge to have a thinner body, because it's not a priority anymore. It is in the sense of health, but not in the sense of I'll be a better person. Oh, I need to have more sex appeal. I need to attract a mate. I don't feel that anymore at all. If it happens, it's fine, and it would be wonderful to have a companion. But I've also learned to very happily live on my own. I'm independent. I've been in a documentary and a couple of different podcasts about speaking out against this cult. It was called The Work. Again, if anybody wants to look it up or look up the documentary I was in, it's called People Magazine Investigates Cults Season 2, Episode 4, The Sinful Messiah. And I go by Lisa Oliver in that. I changed my last name. I don't mind if you guys know my real name is Lisa. You can call me Gigi or whatever. And I have written and journaled and blogged about this forever. I still carry the scars, as I said, because it's very hard to know that you kind of raised yourself, and it has honed my empathy. It's honed my open-mindedness. I don't judge people as readily because we never know where someone comes from. We never know a background of trauma that makes people end up the way they are. But like I just listed, I've overcome a lot. I'm doing very well in my life right now. I see doctors regularly. I return calls. I'm tying up the loose ends of this legal issue. I don't call out of work. I'm responsible. I'm a good person today. I'm aware of my fellow man. And I take care of myself, except for occasionally overeating. But honestly, it sounds like an excuse, but a lot of my weight struggles are because of my thyroid disease and going through menopause, which I'm now 55, and I started menopause at around 48. It's not fun, but you do get used to it. You get used to the way your body feels after a while, and even your mind. And I still grapple with anxiety. I have rescue meds on hand if I ever have a panic attack in public or whatever. As I said, I stopped drinking. I stopped coping in that way. I have a wonderful, beautiful, blessed relationship with my children and my gorgeous grandchildren. And when I say gorgeous, I don't mean physically. I mean their souls and spirits are just glorious to me. And I'm very lucky and I'm very blessed. And I wish I was more technologically savvy. I wish I knew how to grow my channel. I wish I knew how to do things with my channel. Aside from hiring a tutor, I suppose I could tighten up my skills by watching some YouTube tutorial videos. But for now, this just is what it is. You've always known I'm super amateur. And I was forced to leave school in the 12th grade. I was academically very fine, very sound. And I had great aspirations for my life of being a photojournalist, a writer, a poet, an author. That was my dream in life. And I'm still doing it now. It's going to happen. And I'm studying online for what they call the TASK. They don't call it GED anymore because, trust me, TASK is like college level learning, and I mean that. But it stands for, something like academic secondary completion. I forget what the T stands for. Testing for academic secondary completion. I'm sorry. My mind is how long have I been going on? Almost 15 minutes. I'm going to light a cigarette. I know some of you love that. Sorry for the mess, but this is my makeup table. I think it's funny that I have the same camisole on that Chantal's been wearing lately, but that's whatever. I used to love Torrid a lot, but now I find them very, very overpriced. I shop at Venus online. Fantastic clothing and like half the price. This is another habit that's bad. I fully recognize that. One thing at a time. It's a beautiful fall day. I'm content. I'm staring at a lake right now that I live near. And I have a job that I love. I love it. I love serving people. I love helping the vulnerable population. They need me. I provide a service. I consider it a Christian duty to help people who need help. And super happy about having a great credit score these days. I used to never even know where my next meal was coming from. Never been homeless, thank God. But I did many years ago have to take in a roommate who wound up ripping me off and not paying me a dime. And I found out she was an alcoholic and a prostitute. No judgment, but you don't really want to live with a prostitute when you're raising a small child. So, I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell. I spoke more here about my experience, not about the actual facts of the cult. Again, I hope it's not a cop-out, but you can look at the documentary. You can see the madness. You can look up another documentary from the 90s that's on YouTube called Who is Brother Julius? I think that's by someone named Slave Obeys. I don't know what that's all about. And then there's another one that's even an older video that's brief, but pretty, like, when I first saw it, I was like, whoa, flashbacks, triggers. And that's by someone named Steve Sattler with 2 T's. And I forget the name of it. But, there's been interviews with Julius. He was married to a woman named Joanne who called herself the Holy Spirit. He had a top apostle who was murdered in 2009. There was supposed to be a second documentary I was going to be involved with People Magazine. But they dropped the project because the court case, the criminal case, the murder case was being dragged out, and they didn't want to actually have another documentary until things were solidified, because it would have just been kind of scattered, the information. Oh, I don't like my posture, and I don't like how I look today. But I kind of like my palette. I've been playing with colors, and I like the idea of, like, sunset colors. And on my lips is Anastasia Dead Roses with a lifter gloss over it. And Sky High mascara, I don't know, that new trending one by Maybelline is on my lashes. Sometimes I wear fake ones, sometimes I just have no time or patience. So guys, that's me. That was my upbringing. That's my cult story. I was going to do a get ready with me, but I got ready first, and then I just showed you the finished look. I wanted to show you my hair. It's kind of weird how the gray parts are like blue and the rest is almost blackish red. But gonna get a nice long bob in a couple weeks. Well, 1 week. Today's the 20th. I can't believe we're almost into November. I really can't believe it. Life is good today. I never thought I would say that. I was a miserable, depressed, very anxious alcoholic for a long time, and I'm actively in recovery now. I actively take my meds and my vitamins, and I try to eat healthy and just live a good life. We're all doing that in whatever capacity we're at the moment. I mean, no, let me strike that. Without naming names, some people don't live their best lives, and it's sad. I try not to judge, but it's hard, especially when people speak out of both sides of their mouth about shaming as they proceed to shame and call names and rip people a new one just because they can't stand the truth. I am someone who believes in the truth, my story, my voice, my authenticity. To me, the best aspect of being a human being is to be authentic, warts and all, flaws and all. As long as you keep working on yourself and moving forward, that's all the world and society and your fellow man can ever ask of you. And for me, being a good mom and a good grandmother and a good worker is everything. Not success, not material or commercial success. Um, and I love my poetry. I love writing poetry. I write like a poem a day. And I don't want to say I don't want to waste them on this channel, but I've tried to recite my poetry before, and I feel like it's fallen kind of flat. Flat. And I am going to do a second channel if I ever learn how to. Maybe it'll be easier on this new phone. This new phone has a great camera. Although right now the lens might be a little obscured by smoke. The new parakeet's doing well. He escaped yesterday. I got him before the cats did, and that was really harrowing. And like I said, I'm picking up my car. I got to pay over $600 for that. Tonight's class is $225. I paid $560 for a fine to the courts. I paid $75 to DMV to get my conditional license. And by April, I'll have my full license restored. I'll be able to get a promotion at work. I'll be able to drive the people again. And I will be fully staffed. I won't be considered like a fill-in or a temp. I mean, even though I am, I still work about 40 to 50, sometimes 55 hours a week. And I have money left over between paychecks now, which I could never say before. I've had about 80 jobs in my life, and one of these days I'm going to make a list and I'm going to talk about each and every one of them, because that's also part of being borderline. And being borderline is not something you choose. It happens because of childhood trauma and because of your mind kind of dissociating and being dysregulated just as a coping and a survival mechanism. But when you have borderline or bipolar, and I have both, one of the hallmarks of that is instability in relationships and jobs and even places to live, because you always think something is better somewhere else, or someone's going to save you and rescue you. You know, the right relationship will work. Losing weight will make you a better person. You believe a lot of the things your mind tells you when you're disordered. And I think a lot of us have seen that in certain channels. But I'm not talking about them, really. I'm talking about me. And but I no longer seek different things. I no longer am seeking a mate. I'm no longer seeking a new job. I no longer want to move. I had gastric bypass surgery in August of 2001, just like 2 weeks before 9/11 hit. Lost 89 pounds, gained almost all of it back except for maybe 20 pounds. So that's another little disclosure about my life to anyone new to my channel. This is very long. This is 22 minutes long. I'm going to say farewell for now. Me and my double chin will bid you adieu. Adieu and peace out. Thanks for listening. Sorry if this seems scattered, but I at least got out the bulk of my being raised in a cult story. Okay? Have a great day, you guys. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification if you want to know when I upload again. You all know that. You all know the YouTube drill. And that's it. Have a great day, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Take care.